So I can't say shizzies, I can't say fuzzies.
You could say all that
stuff,
I can't say
dag nabbit. We got farkle, and we got shoot. Shoot.
Just waiting on Instagram here.
Yeah, Steve. Always. No, actually, Chase, we're waiting on you. That's what we're waiting on, Chase.
That's how it goes.
You know, I had a guy up front, I don't know his name, but he asked me, he said, shouldn't you be in the back recording a video right now? And you know what, sir? You are absolutely right, which is why I'm here. And guys, it is Tech Tuesday. The boys are in Baja right now. They're getting ready. Well, they're pre-running for the Baja 500. So they're out there eating tacos, drinking beer, probably not doing much on the race car. But today is Tech Tuesday. We are going to be talking about rebuilds, when to rebuild, what to look for, and checking them out. But in order to do that, we got to go over to Ernie and Mitch.
The Tech Lords. What's going on, boys?
The Tech Lords. That sounds intense.
Tech Lords.
The Lords of Technical.
Thanks for the introduction there, Chase.
You're welcome.
And Steve.
You're welcome. Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
We are talking about how to look for or signs of a possible rebuild on your UTV suspension, whether it be a feeling or something that you can visually look at. So we got a couple demonstrations or things set out to kind of show you guys of things to look out for. Also some seals that we offer for a better sealing surface or material, if you will, for shaft seals and stuff like that. So I mean, to jump right into it, I guess we can start off with the number one cause that we always see, and this is a really big deal. So on the shaft itself, you can see the corrosion and pitting that is occurring on this one here. This is typically going to happen underneath what we call the bump stop. So it's kind of hard to see. You're not going to see it all the time. If you physically get in there and move that bump stop up with your fingers or a screwdriver or something like that, this will appear typically underneath the shaft on a lot of walkers and Foxes, just due to the plating that they put onto the shaft itself. Condensation, rocks, mud, dirt, all that stuff can get stuck underneath the bump stop, and it basically just eats away at the plating of the shaft. Now, when this system goes to full compression, that bump stop will squish to basically that diameter of what you're seeing on the pitted part of the shaft. When that actually comes in contact with your seal, you're going to see some ripping and tearing of the seal, which will then lead to a leaky shock. Like a cheese grater.
Cheese grater, yeah. Sandpaper.
Yeah, anything.
A lot of times this gets missed because it is hidden underneath that. So a trick or a tip you can do is just by lifting up that bump stop, inspecting everything, seeing if you have any corrosion or pitting on the shaft. These things are relatively cheap to replace, so if you guys send them in to do a rebuild, we typically have this stuff in stock that is a better material, better quality shaft that will help prevent this too. So doing that along with the upgraded seal kit of like a Viton seal upgrade or different seals that we have options for can help eliminate that as well. So
D Curly here, just wanting to clarify, so always check your shaft for corrosion.
Always check your shaft or it'll fall off.
Would some sort of goo stop corrosion under the bump stop? I would say no. Probably the best thing you can do would be after you either wash your car off really good, or if you are playing in the mud or stuff like that, is to just dry some stuff off, or maybe move a bump stop up and dry things off. It'd be pretty smart.
Mr. Cali Rentals also wanted to let everyone know to rebuild the shizzy out of the shocks. Yes, sir.
Jesus.
What else we got, boys? What else can we look for?
Kind of going back on that, if you guys send your stuff in to get rebuilds, this is something we always inspect too, so I want to throw that out there as well. If you guys have damaged parts or worn out stuff, like the seal head here, you can see like all the material or finish of the seal head is actually worn off of that. That's stuff that we're going to call you guys before we even go ahead on doing anything and let you guys know that that stuff is worn out. Like I was going back on, relatively cheap to replace it with a better material is always going to benefit you guys in the long run for longevity of the system itself too. So if you guys can't inspect it or maybe are fighting to get the bump stop to move or anything like that, if you send it in, we'll do that for you. We'll let you guys know what we find and that can be replaced. Okay, so I guess a good question to be asked would be, when would someone rebuild their shocks, or why would someone rebuild their shocks?
Great question.
It all depends. I mean, it really all depends. So it could be high mileage. High mileage, you could be low on nitrogen. Could be a pitted shaft, a bent shaft, a leaky seal, anything like that. There's quite a few things to look for. On a mileage interval, usually, I mean, after we've rebuilt it, I usually say 2,500 to 3,000 miles. But from the beginning, typically on a brand new shock, you don't need it rebuilt. But I mean, anywhere from 1 to anything could be needed to be rebuilt.
We have some guys that'll do it yearly, like annually, depending on the miles that they put on cars. And we always get the mile question. It's something that we always get, and I do think that is a good go-to as far as miles go. But it is total hit and miss. So it really is going to depend on terrains and how you're taking care of things. It's going to depend on if you wreck the car. There's just a ton of different scenarios to where shocks need to be rebuilt, which is also why, as an industry standard, there is no warranty on rebuilds. So seals and oil, we don't carry a warranty for that. Obviously, there are instances where we will step up and take care of things, but it's just one of those things. You can go out today, you can get a rock chip on the shaft, fall on your buddy tomorrow, and there you go, wipes out the seal. So there's just too many variables for there to be anything warranty related as far as that's concerned. But again, if it is close to after we perform the work, or we have a good conversation with you and understand that we need to step up to help you, we always will.
Absolutely.
We have a really good question, and I feel weird asking this one. AZ Desert Rat 735 wants to know, if my shaft has a curve with a bump, should I be concerned? Yes, you should be. Yes, you should be.
We got another one from Troy Woods AZ, recommended spray to use on a shaft after.
Same thing with the goop, like you said, there's nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be using any sort of thing to try and protect any of that stuff. I mean, the best thing that you can do is just be conscious of making sure your stuff is clean. Moving that bump stop up or getting all the debris out of underneath it. That is the number one cause that we see with corrosion at pitting, is just you allow it to sit underneath there and then it just eats away at the shaft. So making sure that stuff gets clean, I would do that rather than spraying any type of thing onto it.
Well, and then you can also get sprays that might hurt the seal too. I mean, there's so many sprays that we've used in the past just cleaning shocks that'll manipulate seals. So
correct.
I would definitely not recommend that. Keeping everything clean is going to be the best for sure.
Keep your shaft clean, and you shouldn't have any kidney stones. Speaking of kidney stones, Rap Rat 943, Steve, how's the kidney stone bazooka feeling?
It's feeling good, guys. I'm back to normal now. Thank you. Thank you.
And then Frank G, get your mind out of the gutter. Drippy shaft is never a good thing. It's all right. What else are we going to talk about? What else can we distinguish more about rebuilds?
So besides like the visual stuff, I mean, you're going to have the pitting on the shaft. You're going to have obviously nicks and stuff like that. But if you physically see oil leaking out of the seal head, or maybe like on this shock, how you see the seal head is actually, dirty and attracting dirt or debris or dust or anything like that, that's a pretty good sign that, okay, maybe that seal isn't completely shot yet, but it is showing signs of visually leaking. It might be put into the back of your mind that here soon you're going to have to, be sending that stuff in to get it taken care of and freshened up on that. Now, if you let that go for too long, you're going to start having a big mess everywhere. You're going to see it a lot more, and then you're going to run into an issue where you physically have, see that big gap there where it jumps down? You're losing, nitrogen, you're losing oil, you're losing all that stuff, creating air bubbles inside of the shock. That's no good either. Now there's not benefits, but there's things that you can feel in the car when this happens too. So let's say you got your stuff done, it's all rebuilt, fresh, ready to go. It's been amazing for 2,000 miles. The next trip you go out, you notice the car's starting to feel a little different. You're having to add some compression to it. You're having to kind of play with the adjustments a little bit. The total feel of the car changes. That's a good sign of being internally blown, losing nitrogen, losing oil, stuff like that. So there's some things that you can kind of pay attention to notice as far as the way the car's feeling too. So
Triple Digit Sketch wants to know, what is the PSI spec you guys set for nitrogen on Walker or Fox? And that would be 200 pounds of nitrogen.
What about Yum Dirt? Is there a better option for bump storms? And I know he means bump stops.
He said stop under it. Is there a better option? I think the factory is probably your best bet.
I mean, we swap them from time to
with
time, but that is just a tuning scenario for us. We have not had any issues with the stock stuff. If you're running, stock style cars, we have, like I said in the past, played with differences and changes more on the race side or on the tune side. So
this is all stuff just for you guys to look at and pay attention to. Now, obviously, the bump stop serves a purpose in the way that the car, handles and what it's actually supposed to do, but just by removing it or moving it up and making sure it's clean is probably going to be your best bet, rather than venturing out trying to find a different option to fix that. Just paying attention to it is really the whole point here, I guess.
Hey Mitchie, what does it cost to get your shocks rebuilt at Shock Therapy?
There's two options. If you're sending it in just to do rebuilds as far as seals and oil are concerned, it's $125 a piece. That is per shock. If you are sending them in as an appointment to get valving done or any internal work done by us, it's $25 a shock. So you can save money on the rebuild side of it if you decide to go the route of valving it or during doing internal work. But as far as just a rebuild, it's $125 a piece.
And that is $125, not including parts. If extra parts are needed, correct? That is just
that
seals,
is oil,
Yep.
the whole kit.
So let's say you send it in, $125 for your rebuild. That's seals and oil. Let's say you need a shaft. That shaft's going to be added on top of that $125 to fix whatever problems are, happening with the shock too. So.
And you can get to a point to where you actually wait too long to send in your shocks, and it starts compounding and really costing you a lot of money. So, like Mitch was saying, if you're not having any evidence of a shock leaking, it's not presenting, hey, I'm a blown shock, blown seals, and I've got issues, but you are running into throwing extra adjustments in shocks, manipulating, all of your compressions and rebounds. That's a good telltale sign, as long as you are also not continuing to accessorize the car at the same time. So I would always tell people, hey, go after your ride heights first, make sure that stuff's right first, and then if everything's right and nothing's changed, and the only thing that has changed is you're throwing more adjustments in the shocks, it's probably a good sign that we have something else going on internally.
And you'll notice that right away.
Yeah,
too.
100%.
Like if you take it out the weekend before, you're like, man, this thing's awesome, amazing. Then you take it out the next weekend, you're like, something feels different. That's a pretty good sign. I mean, without diving super far into like all the settings and stuff like that, just the butt and seat feeling, I guess, is pretty noticeable, especially for you driving the car all the time.
And nitrogen's super important too. So you could have a buddy screwing with you that lets nitrogen out of your shock. It will change everything about the way the car performs. We've seen that.
That is not a good buddy.
We've seen buddies move adjusters and stuff too. So it's not a bad idea. I mean, I don't know anyone that is in the UTV market by themselves. This isn't something that families get in the car and just go drive and do things by themselves all the time. So what I'm trying to say is you normally have 2 to 10 guys you ride with. You guys can split a nitrogen tank and regulator and hose, and you guys could do that stuff once a year, or you could do it every 6 months or so. But that would eliminate that as being an issue towards maybe wanting to do rebuilds, valving, a bunch of other scenarios as well.
Absolutely.
So we do have a great question, which leads me on to another topic with this same stuff. What is your turnaround time on doing rebuilds? Right now, probably around 1 to 2 weeks, but we are trying to get better. We do have Brandon now running our rebuild side. We're having a new department. We're kind of making it its own thing. So we should be able to schedule rebuilds here in the next couple months. But it should be a very quick turnaround on that side of things. Right now, I would say 1 to 2 weeks on the rebuild side. In a couple months, hopefully a day or two turnaround. That's what we're hoping for.
And that's always best case scenario.
Yes,
right.
As long as I have everything.
If there's a part that is destroyed, a seal head that we're back ordered on, a shaft or anything like that, it could change that. Best case scenario, seals, oil, shocks back to them. 1 to 2 weeks is
It's kind of a tricky one because you see shocks that come in that are just a seal. You throw a seal in the seal head and new oil and freshen it up, it's out the door. Then you get a shock that comes in that's
body's worn,
popped out of the shock, and it's like missing a bunch of parts and the body's exploded, and the term rebuild is used, I think, very lightly on that side of things. So creating just different ways of, okay, you send your shock in, you fill out the form of whatever it might be to help fix that is also going to determine the turnaround time for your specific shock. So going to an appointment based side of that will help us too on, you know, gathering parts ahead of time, hopefully, and being able to have everything here if you guys need it and go from there. So,
Ramp Rat 943 wants to know, does Chase blow a lot of shocks? And I say no, he blows a lot of dudes. All right?
Hey.
So.
But I do blow a lot of shocks too. Don't lie to kick it here.
Perfect.
S550 Monster, are the Walker Evans away links any good?
So I believe it's he said you can't read for anything.
I
Chase.
can't read, I'm sorry.
So if we're gonna read it properly, he says, are the Walker Evans away links any good? I'm thinking he's saying, are the Walker Evans sway links any good? Which I think translates to, are the Walker Evans sway bar links any good? And Ernie, you take it away.
My brain hurts.
Oh my God. Decipher.
So for us here, we're all about sway bars. Our style riding, we're all about sway bars. So things that you'll gain from a Walker Evans link would be if you're a slow speed rock crawler guy, or maybe if you're doing a lot of forest roads that have washboards and things like that. It in theory will be a little bit more plush, the whole system, because it does give you some give side to side. The negative that I have with it personally when I'm driving a car is I like to do some higher speed cornering. So in a higher speed corner, the car will have it'll feel like it's got like a foot of give, body roll, and then it locks up hard on you. And I've bicycled cars a couple times in testing those out. So for me, it's not best for me. I'm not really looking for 0 to 5 mile an hour slow speed plush. I don't do any rock crawling, but I do think there's a need for it out there, definitely. If you're a duner, no way.
yeah.
If you're a desert guy and you do high speed, no way. I think it's good in theory, but I do think it is adding more danger to your driving.
So maybe for those people who need a little bit more give, like rocks.
Rock crawling, yeah, washboards.
Specifically,
If it's very specific.
Yeah.
And you know what? People in this industry are very specific. So dirt guys are dirt guys. Sand guys won't take their car in the dirt sometimes. It's a sand car now. Mud guys, I mean, they wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do in the desert the same way we wouldn't be able to do the stuff they do in the mud. So I do feel like people are kind of making them specific for each individual terrain. So
Pacific
Pacific about it. Specifically asking, Jay Koza Kriya says, do you guys rebuild King shocks? So,
okay.
I thought the king was dead.
Yes, but they are more expensive.
Okay, so yeah, we definitely can rebuild King shocks. We can rebuild any shock. It's not that we can or can't. It's just we kind of we stay more focused on towards the OE direction of stuff. Those are the parts that we stock. That's the things that we have here available to where we can get shocks, burn and churned right back to you quick. And we have had some issues in the past trying to get parts through King. So can we? Yes. Do we? Not very often. We almost have to be talked into it. And we try to do our research ahead of time to see if we have the parts, because the worst thing in the world is you as a client sending us a shock. It's sitting on the shelf while we have parts on order, and we're playing the middleman not getting the parts, and it's our fault. Regardless if it's not our fault, we feel like it's our fault. So we want to get that stuff back to you as soon as possible, and we want for you to have the best experience. That's how we do more shocks. So it's a tough one. Can we? Yes. Do we? Not very often. Not very often.
We got, let's see here.
I don't like the way you pointed at me, Chase.
Do you guys, any updates on the mounts on steering wheel for the IQS? On the steering wheel, quick panic button.
No updates on that right now. No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Straight to the point, Ernie.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I have no updates on that right
2
now.
months.
There are some things I have been working on that we have been working on as a team.
Good job, Justin.
We're not there yet.
Diesel Dog, do you guys valve the Walker links?
No,
Nope.
we do not.
All right.
No, we do not.
Well, that's okay.
Jason Shorman was asking about if it's difficult to install a Schrader valve in an X3 shock. What I will tell you is pay attention to us, keep doing all of our social media stuff, because we're going to actually have caps coming out very soon. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but I did.
Oh my God!
And they're going to be super bitchin', and they're going to come with instructions on how it all works, and to get nitrogen and stuff in there. So just keep paying attention to our medias. It's coming soon.
The sneak peek is we're actually right behind you.
Yeah, hey, no cap, Ernie, no cap.
We won't show it.
Hide it, Ernie. Be big. Ernie, we do have a question. Why haven't we developed our own shocks?
I've heard this from Justin. It's time to hear it from you, Ernie.
Why?
So, and haven't developed our own shocks, I would say probably one of the most important things is we try to stay super diverse. Okay, so we try to stay very diverse, whether we're talking about Hondas, Chase's, Yamahas, Polaris's, Can-Am's, stuff like that. We want to just stay real diverse, and that works for the shock world too. So I think it would be very hard for us to come out with a shock, produce a shock, and get into that style of the industry when we're also trying to service Walkers, we're trying to service Foxes, we're trying to service Kings, we're trying to do everything else as well. So it would be a little bit of a conflict of interest for us. We have some amazing ideas of things that we would do if we did go that direction, but that is not something that we're looking into doing at all.
We're going to give Ernie all the fun questions today. Speed UTV updates. Ernie, go.
What's a speed UTV?
Come on, Ernie.
I'm honest about it.
That's why I laughed.
Daniel Storga, 131. You guys look so relaxed when the boss is not around. I was going to say the boss is
right
standing
there.
right here, people.
Yeah.
So
The boss is right there.
be careful.
What you guys don't know is we have a pile of shite to do today.
Shizzy.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're trying to give you guys something to watch and gain some information from. So we're always busy. We're always got stuff going on, but we're working through it. So.
Hey, is that car still in here that has like 16,000 miles?
16,000 miles. It is out front.
It's out front.
But that is a good example of Chase. I'm talking. Sorry, just wanted to let you know. I'm not throwing my voice. So that car out front has 16,000 miles on it. He comes to us pretty much every season, so once a year, and has his car rebuilt and freshened up. Does he necessarily need to do that? No, but it is getting preventive maintenance. He keeps his shocks well and keeps them good. So having 16,000 miles on the car, his shocks look like they're brand new. So it all depends on what you guys want to do. Like I said, we recommend around every 2,500 to 3,000 miles, but keep an eye on your shocks.
Diesel Dog wants to clarify a Speed UTV is a unicorn, Ernie.
Okay.
As well as we have here.
Oh, I thought he was calling Ernie a unicorn.
I am a unicorn.
That would be George Hamill.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Sparkles wants to say Ernie is the boss. Yeah.
He said,
Yes, I am.
God, he can't read. He said, the. This guy.
Specifically.
Specifically wrong.
We got a few coming in here. Mr. Bearded Man, why is Shock Therapy not a Can-Am factory race team when there are many others are?
Diversity. Let's talk about diversity again, right? So we're trying to stay diverse in all of it. So I'm going to start racing here soon. Maybe we race a Polaris too. Who knows? We might stick to Can-Ams, and Justin still races a Can-Am, but we're trying to stay diverse. We're trying to be open for everyone. We don't want the Can-Am lovers to hate the fact that we drive a Polaris, or the Polaris lovers to hate the fact that we drive a Can-Am. We just want to be open for everyone.
Do you guys have a rear-mounted radiator on the race car? Would you know that, Ernie?
Yeah, we do.
Boom.
Yes, we do.
I think most race cars do.
It's super important. I mean, if you've got it up front, yeah, your cooling would, in theory, be better, but I imagine you would get more debris in it. And then if you're tapping people, or if you get in an accident or something like that, that's going to be the first thing to go. So
You don't want to be behind our front bumper.
you also get a lot larger radiator in the back of the car too, so you're not really held down to size, which is important. But yeah, all race cars for the most part, every race car I've ever seen, rear radiator.
Yeah. Size is always important, Ernie.
Well, I hope not.
Kush Organics, I like your name. Should I get a Can-Am with smart shocks or without? What's the difference?
You can have that one.
It honestly depends, man. I mean, if it were me buying one, I would go normal Can-Am and then have the option or ability to add possibly IQS later on.
Smart shocks, to me, and this is my own opinion, is too new for anybody to really know, what is capable of it right now. The older Can-Ams with the normal style shock with DSCs in it is tried and true. It's been around for a long time. There's, different options that you can do with that. Is Smart Shocks going to be an awesome car down the road? I'm sure it is, but as of right now, looking to buy one, I'd probably go the older route and then have the ability to add more options to it. That's just me. So you can do your research on it too and see if it suits you better to go, that route or going towards the Smart Shock.
Well, you guys, let's give the viewers a little recap on rebuilds. What did we learn today, Mitchie boy? What are we looking for when you're looking at your shocks to determine whether they need to be rebuilt?
Specifically, Chase.
Pacific.
We are looking.
Ocean. It's an ocean, guys.
Yeah. We are looking for signs or things to look out for that might make your shock lose fluid or cause a leaky shaft or cause a different feeling in the ride quality of the car itself. So fitting in the shaft is the number one thing that we always see. You can fix that by looking at your bump stop, moving that guy up and down the shaft, making sure it's super clean on that area. Seal head, on the very bottom of the seal head, if the shock was inside the car, it would look like that. You'll see some dirt and debris that are gathering around the actual seal itself. Something to look for on that. If it becomes a lot more than that, then you're going to know you're going to have an issue there. Upgrading to Viton seals, different materials on the shafts, different coating on the shafts, going to help that, prevent that. Is it going to fix it? It's not going to fix it 100% because you can still get rock chips, you can still get damages done to that. That seal rides along there, it's going to rip it, you're going to have a leaky shock. So like we were talking with adding compression or adding different adjustments to the car and noticing changes in that, that's a good sign of being internally blown on the shock itself. Losing nitrogen, losing oil, stuff like that's going to affect that. So just simple little things to look out for as far as all that stuff is concerned that can help you and prevent a lot of money that you have to spend on your system down the road if you take care of it sooner. So
rebuild your shocks before you have to repair them, Mitchie boy.
Yes, perfectly said, Chase.
And the only way to do this is by actually looking at your shocks, people. You have to look at them, you have to clean them, you have to inspect them.
I'm actually kind of impressed that you said that. That was Pacifically
the right answer. Yes, one good for the guy who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hey, I got something here from Lindsay and Rob. It's actually a decent question, and we have had this a lot. But they're asking if it's a good or bad idea to use a floor jack to take the weight off the springs while parked at home. I'd say no. I'd leave things the way they are. You're just adding another process to your fun. I really don't think it's doing anything for you by doing that. So I definitely venture away from that one. You have anything?
Just a couple people asking, is there another way to adjust the springs besides clocking them to keep them from rubbing my shock body? I have a 2020 XP4 Turbo with Walker Evans. Clocking the springs, you're always going to get body rub. Body rub is completely normal. We have upgraded dividers that you can buy. Also, making sure under the divider is clean, making sure the body is clean. Those are going to be your options there. You're going to get body rub, though. It is totally normal. Crossover rub as well.
You know a little bit about body rub, Steve. Rebel West, thanks for all the info and tips, guys. You're welcome.
Absolutely.
I got a good one here. Casey Jones found a missing O-ring on one of his silent crossovers. Is it okay to continue riding? Absolutely. It is absolutely okay to continue riding. We get that question a lot. You might get a little bit of noise out of that crossover when it transfers. And then, down the road, when you can either pull your springs off, throw a new O-ring on it, or down the road when shocks are here and getting rebuilt, that is part of the process that we do no matter what. So do not ever fear driving a car if you lose the O-ring for the crossover. Drive the car.
Yep. Ramp Rat had a good question here too. My brother's gold label Fox shocks are spongy, no oil leaking, could it be low nitrogen pressure? Absolutely. That's probably the number one cause that will be presenting itself when you have a spongy feel to the car. So, like Ernie was saying, with having some buddies that go in on a nitrogen tank, that stuff can be checked every season, every ride if you want to.
If you have questions about it, you could check it right now.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something.
Definitely could be an issue on that side of things. So that was kind of what we're going into with the different ride quality and the different feeling of the car. If you're not having anything leaking or visibly leaking or showing, it's a sign of that. So,
Mitch, I got a question for you.
For me?
Yeah, Peter Quaid is waiting to install my Cognito tie rod kit. until I get the race rack. Should I hold off until Shock Therapy tie rod kits are available?
What kind of car is it?
He has a Razor XP4 1000.
Absolutely. Those are coming actually very, very, very soon. We're gonna have a really, really cool kit for that. So it's gonna actually, what's really cool about it is it's gonna work with the race rack and it's gonna work with the factory rack as well. So being able to have a kit that is going to work for both racks and keep the same, I don't want to give too much away, but keep the same, something that goes to the spindle side of it, it's going to be really cool. So if you want to wait, I would say yes, but obviously it's your call on that. We got something cool coming. So.
Samesies? Samesies.
Adjustability is going to be
giving away a lot of secrets.
Adjustability is the biggest secret on that one.
Question mark is pretty much not going to be there with what we're coming out with on the adjustable side of things. So
you guys are going to love it.
Yeah, Daniela Storga 131, where can I get crossovers? How much are they?
Do I end it right now?
Well, let me see if I got anything else.
You can go to our website at www.shocktherapyusa.com and they are $60, I believe. $59.95 to be exact, plus tax. Don't forget about Uncle Sam, guys. But I'm not ending it because Ernie had another question.
No, I don't. I think
Our X3 race racks in stock.
we are currently building X3 race racks. I believe Lauren and the team is building 120 of them. I could be off on my numbers. Is that close at least?
close, yeah.
I heard yesterday that we're going to be having some within the next 48 hours or so.
And then we've got another 200 or 300 coming right after that. But I do know that we didn't turn them back on the site, from my understanding, because we're still behind like 90 kits. So we're trying to get those caught up this week, and then hopefully the floodgate opens and you guys can grab your X3 racks.
Boom, you heard it from the source himself.
Well, I think that's it on my end, Ernie. Are you good on your end? Mitchie,
Yeah.
you good on your end?
Yeah, you guys did awesome.
We gotta let
Wow.
Mitchie get back to work. He's got some race shocks to get going.
Thanks.
With whom?
Chase.
For the guys down racing the Baja 500. Well, guys, if you're looking to buy anything or any of our parts, please visit www.shocktherapyusa.com, or if you are sick of having leaky shafts, please call in at 623-217-4959.
You're welcome, Lindsay and Rob.
Follow all the guys at Shock Therapy Off-Road Racing.
Leaky shafts are never
And